In today's video, I'm going to convince you to put your money on Paulo Costa against Sean Strickland. Now you may be thinking, Paulo Costa, super unreliable guy, 1-3 in his last 4, couldn't finish a gas-looped rock hold at elevation, completely washed up. Hear me out. Sean Strickland doesn't deal well with pressure, and Paulo Costa puts on pressure. He hasn't been putting on pressure to the best of his ability, like a prime Paulo Costa pressure, like against Uriah Hall, just walking through jabs and ripping the body. And of course he's been facing tougher guys, so that becomes harder to do. But Paulo Costa does like to pressure, and Strickland will back up against the pressure. You saw against Dricus du Plessis, when Dricus was rushing forward with shots, Strickland was backing up, using all his weird defensive maneuvers to stay generally safe. But he got hit a lot in that fight, and so did du Plessis, and it was a close fight. But that pressure is the absolute key to defeating Sean Strickland, because if you let him start walking you down, then it's like an avalanche when it starts adding up and he starts landing his teeps and his jabs, and he just does not get tired. That's not something that you want to do. So putting the pressure on Sean Strickland is absolutely huge. Paulo's game plan in this fight has to be to pressure, get him circling right and throwing leg kicks and looking for boxing combinations against the fence. And I saw Tim Welch say this at the end of his Strickland versus Costa breakdown, and he makes a really good point. When you're backed up against the ropes, against the cage, and a lot of Strickland's defense is kind of like leaning back and throwing his arms up in odd places to catch punches, that becomes a much more dangerous thing to do when you don't have the ability to lean back because the cage is at your back. He becomes much less defensively effective if his back's against the cage and Paulo Costa is ripping the body too. That will be Paulo Costa's route to victory, is keeping that pressure on and ripping to the body and to the head. But will Paulo Costa be able to finish Sean Strickland? Because that is most likely what he will have to do. We've seen Paulo Costa go 5 rounds before. That wasn't at middleweight, it was at light heavyweight, so he was more hydrated in that fight. But he looked relatively okay, even though he lost the fight on output. In the 5th round, I think he won the 5th round. I could be like completely delusional in that. Like, I didn't rewatch it recently, but I'm pretty sure he took that round. If he can keep up the same type of pressure and just pushing Strickland against the cage, Strickland will like probably get a jab going on Paulo and have some good moments, but Paulo could keep that pace for 5 rounds as long as he doesn't go too crazy for the finish at any point, because Strickland's going to be a very, very hard guy to finish unless you land something big on him, which I feel like Paulo is capable of doing. Just the way he reacts defensively, and if that is put up against the cage, I think maybe one of those overhands or left hooks could tag Strickland when he's not expecting it. I think the body work will be very beneficial to sap some of the cardio as well. We could see a very labored Strickland if Costa is being effective to the body for the first 2 rounds, and then it kind of evens the gas tank advantage that you would believe that Strickland has. Then they're both kind of slowed down, and both their cardio isn't great. Then we kind of just ride out to a decision, and maybe Paulo can win 3 out of the 5 rounds in that. So this is me trying to make a case for why you should bet on Paulo Costa. I don't know who I'm actually leaning, but this is like, I'm gonna do one for Strickland as well. Oh, another thing. Costa landed a pretty good spinning wheel kick. What did Sean Strickland lose by KO to? One of 2 losses in his career, to Alesico dos Santos spinning wheel kick. And Costa's got a very surprising, sneaky, fast spinning wheel kick. So boom, that's another reason. Bet the house on Costa. Okay, that's all I got. Those are all the reasons why you should bet on Paulo Costa at UFC 302. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching and peace.